Hello and welcome to Spartie Stream. I am pleased today to be joined by our guests, Fibonacci and Pascal. Yay! These are my 7-year-old twins. They are not the stars of the show, but I just wanted to make a point here that we love children here at the Spartie Lab, and it's been 2 minutes. I know. Okay, you can go in 10 seconds. Hold on, just say one thing for everyone out there.
This is my dad.
Okay, just in case you couldn't tell from the shyness. All right, go ahead. But we have other children in the lab. We are joined today by Chaeyun Lim, the most senior advisee in the lab, and can I say the baby's name? Luca. Yeah. The most recent baby addition to the Spartie lab.
He's only 4 months old.
He's only 4 months old. Chaeyun has had 2 children while in the PhD program, and more than 6 times as many publications.
Oh, yeah.
In the program. So she's been very productive. We also have Jiahui Liu back with us because the recording audio was messed up before, and I'm hoping it's working just fine now. I think it is. I should double check. But yeah, so happy to have both of you here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, and excited to reflect on your experience in the program, Chaeyun. So how's it going? How have your it's 5 years. How have your almost 5 years been here at the Media and Information Department in the Information and Media PhD program?
Oh, it's been really a great experience for me to be here because I started my PhD sorry, my voice is hoarse because of cold. You can tell it. So I started my PhD in 2020, which was in the middle of the pandemic. So everything was remote. So it was not a great time to start my PhD. But even despite that, it's been a really nice experience because I've had supportive mentors like Robby and my other committee members such as Dave Wilson and Mike Stern and other my cohort members. They were always very supportive, and our culture was very supportive. So despite in the middle of the pandemic, I was really happy to start my PhD, and during my first year and second year, I was able to navigate my early PhD journey with their support, and I thought it was very successful, and I completed my comprehensive exam in the late 2022 when I was having my first baby. It was really chaotic for me because it was late. I was in late pregnancy, and so I was about to deliver, and I was writing my comprehensive exam. But it was a really unforgettable experience because all of my committee members were very supportive of my situations, and they continuously support me through mentally and cognitively and academically as well. And throughout my PhD journey, I was able to attend multiple conferences internationally. So I went to Spain, and I went to 4 digital games international conferences, and I went to Mexico as well, and I went to also Australia and France for International Communication Association conferences, and I presented multiple papers at the conferences, which was really nice because I was able to meet many amazing collaborators at the conferences, and I was able to make many new friends. They were really amazing in this field. So that was really, I felt really grateful for
That's
everything.
such an important part, right?
Yes,
of the journey is going to conferences, Jiahui and I talked about a recent ICA trip. It was really transformative for her, and you've had many of them now. But listening to you talk about having your babies as you're going through these processes reminded me, my oldest baby's right here. I got all the kids in the lab on the other side. This is Atticus. Say hi.
Hi.
How old are you?
15.
Yes, 15 years ago. I was also finishing my PhD program. You don't remember any of that. Oh, you remember us telling you about it?
Yes.
Yes.
I remember you would go to the circular room.
The circular room.
The
VR space?
No, it's right across from the planetarium.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That place, and you would teach there.
Yeah. Oh, I would bring them to teach. Yeah, so like Chaeyun, your babies are very small, and they've been part of this early journey of yours as a PhD student. But as they get older, it's been so nice for me to involve them in teaching and bringing them to conferences too, and making that a family travel, but also introducing them to colleagues. And I know some of my colleagues' kids just through conference meetings and various visits around the world, and so it's a nice way, if you're comfortable with it, to integrate the family and the professional life, which I don't think is possible in many other careers in the same way as it is in academia, right?
Which is
you
nice
can
part. Yeah,
go play your video games. We'll send Thilo in here too, my last kid, at some point when you're off your video game. Go on.
Yeah. I brought my first kid to the ICA and DIGRA, so and meaningful XR. And but this one hasn't been any
Too new.
conferences yet. So I'm looking forward to traveling with.
But you're gonna bring him to Chicago or to Evanston, right?
Yeah.
You're moving very soon.
Yeah, I'm moving. I'm moving early August this year to Evanston. So
For a
postdoc position at Northwestern University.
Very exciting.
Yeah,
And
I'm excited.
with what type of group?
Oh yeah, that position is affiliated with Center for Science and Innovation at Kellogg School of Management. So they basically they want to discover the future of research, the future of science, so in the metaverse environment. So my research has been focused on future of workplaces in the virtual reality and in the virtual environment, so including video conferencing and virtual reality and mixed reality. So I want to integrate my previous research and current research project into the understanding the future of work in future of science in the metaverse work environment. So to understand how scientists collaborate in the metaverse environment and how we can augment such technologies to support collaborations among various types of people.
Yeah, and that's such a great example of one career path or really field path that you can take out of our program. There's so many, right? The Information and Media PhD program is very interdisciplinary, and so you're not going to a Department of Media and Information.
No.
Your next step is in a School of Management with kind of meta-analytical, I don't mean meta-analysis, but kind of like meta-thinking about science in general, and using methods that you've honed here, right? So like fundamentally your methods are the most important things that you've done in your program. You've got these skills that you can apply in different domains, and you're of course topically it's relevant though to your dissertation, the idea of science in the metaverse. Do you want to tell us a bit about your dissertation on engagement in virtual meetings?
Yeah, my dissertation is about virtual meeting engagement. So how my dissertation is about understanding how people involved in virtual meeting environments cognitively and behaviorally. So I wanted to look at how people pay attention to each other and pay attention to the meeting content and pay attention to the meeting interaction in virtual environments. So that was my topic of dissertation. So I developed a scale which is called virtual meeting engagement scale to understand how people cognitively and behaviorally engage with each other and engage with meeting discussions. And yeah, that was my dissertation topic.
Yeah, and so engaging in virtual meetings is of course relevant to engaging in virtual science.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. So I can use the scale to assess how people pay attention to the meeting interaction in virtual reality and mixed reality. Or I can further explore what dimensionality we should focus on, we should develop more further in mixed reality environment when it comes to collaboration.
Yes, indeed. And you're also thinking about engagement and multitasking, which is what we're doing here, trying to keep the baby entertained. All right, so Jiahui, can you ask a question, or is there something that you think people would want to know that from Chaeyun about the program from your perspective?
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm a rising second-year PhD student.
Yay!
Well, I mean, by saying that, it makes me feel no longer young. So, while I am approaching my second year, I feel a little bit confused, and I know like Chaeyun is like has a lot of very fascinating projects, like they're ongoing. So Chaeyun is really good at multitasking. So my question will be, how did you manage all of the research projects? And well, you have 2 babies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Like I know some papers, they might be, you just submit it, so they are under review, so you can just ignore them, but except that you also have, like you need to revise them, like some other papers you just have a basic idea, and there are also some other papers that you are collecting data, and so how can you manage them, like?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So first of all, I tried my best to make all those projects very closely related topically.
Yeah.
So
So it's easier for you to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So each paper kind of helps each other. So when even if I am focusing on one paper, the literature so if I write this paper about literature and if I explore previous existing literature, and that helps me think through other papers as well, so that I can be very efficient. And yeah, that's the most important strategy. Is it strategy? Yeah, that's a strategy.
Yeah, that's a great strategy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And certainly it made sense because we had huge data sets coming out of this NSF grant with many different variables. We couldn't write one paper about 2,000 participants responding to like 80 questions or whatever it was. So we wrote multiple papers about different parts of that data set, but they came from the same data set, so they were relevant to each other, right?
Yeah, right. So yeah, all data collection, they are also very closely related. So throughout our NSF project, we have collected survey data, and we collected also social media data through crawling Twitter data, and we also have what else? Oh, interview data.
Interview data.
Yeah, and they are all very closely related. So I could make synergy with other team members as well. And also it's a team project, so I don't have to do everything by myself. So each team member has their own specialty and their own expertise. So we can fully utilize all of them, all of their expertise and their strength in writing our papers.
Yeah,
so
this point is very important.
Yeah, so we can be very efficient and we can learn from each other, which is an important part, because even though my research is focused on, my research method is focused on quantitative method, So survey and experiment and statistical analysis. But I could still learn from other team members such as Maxwell Foxman, who's an associate professor at University of Oregon. He's a qualitative scholar, so he has an amazing skills and perspectives from that side. So I was able to learn from him. So it was really nice to contribute to many projects as a mixed method scholars. So I could analyze qualitative data as well because I was able to learn from them. And which is another way to be very efficient to manage all those projects. And speaking of having 2 kids, it's not easy to do everything, but I realized that when I take care of these kids and when I play with my older kids, which is a very refreshing to my brain, so which really helps me to get some rest from my research. So that is really cognitively and mentally refreshing. So I can have this part of life, academic and cognitively demanding life, and this part of physically demanding but very cognitively refreshing life part. So both the parts help each other, if that makes sense. So that I can. Oh, this monitor, is it okay? The monitor is turned
we just
off.
lost the TV, but we're fine otherwise. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So that way I could manage all those parts of my life,
That's not it.
which is really meaningful, and at the same time it's really fun.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it a kid a must to refresh your brain?
Sorry, what was your question?
Say it again.
Is it a kid a must to refresh your brain?
A
Oh
kid-
yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, kids refresh my brain. It really is. Do you
you
agree?
Robby?
Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Are there any other ways?
I'm not sure I would have ever. Oh yeah, are there other? No, you don't need to have children to succeed in the PhD program. In fact, it is the outlier case, though it was my experience as well. But I think the general point is that you need eudaimonic experiences, some meaningful activity, a hobby, art, outdoors, whatever it is that's really fulfilling for you, and usually combined with some social experience as well, in order to truly disconnect from your work. It's important to disconnect and to spend time just like thinking and relaxing,
Right.
but also to work a lot. The funny kind of adage I remember is, if you want something done, give it to the busiest person on your team, right? Because they have to learn to be efficient. Parenting is all about multitasking. There was all this research, and like I believe it, right? That multitasking is bad for your productivity, and you're not going to do anything well if you're multitasking all the time. And I get it. If you run lab studies where you're looking at people working on very discrete tasks in a controlled environment, but fundamentally there's so much of what we do as humans that requires quick task switching. Driving, changing diapers while making dinner, while managing your social interaction with your partner, etc. Just like being with a group of friends and eating out at a restaurant and managing, like there's always task switching. So if you can hone those skills. You asked about multitasking earlier on a larger time scale, which Chaeyun, you responded to very well, right? Like if I have to switch between papers, then I want them to be complementary to each other so that switching costs are lower, mentally, switching costs, and then it's more efficient. Some other ideas there are like, if I'm working on multiple papers, even if they're not topically complementary, I like to have them at the same phase. Actually, this is really relevant to you. We were talking about this earlier. So that means that when I'm submitting for publication the first time, I'm going through the same process. I'm going into the portal, I'm thinking about keywords, I'm thinking about how to like get the author's university affiliations, right? So then the task switching is lower because I'm doing the same thing even though they're topically different papers. Then when I'm doing my R&R and I'm writing my response letters or I'm doing the final proofing stages, I like to have those lined up. Same thing when I get invited to do reviews for articles. I'll accept like 2 or 3 or 4 at a time, and then I'll delay all of them until they're all on the same deadline, and then I'll write all of the reviews at the same time, because that like mindset of writing a review for me is similar, so I can reduce the task switching cost there. When we think about multitasking like in the field of psychology, it's often more like at this granular time kind of level where we're like switching between focusing on this thing and this thing, the baby, the driving, the whatever. But I think a lot of those metaphors and those skills, you can make yourself a better multitasker, both in that short time scale and in the larger time scale. And Chaeyun, you are a master of it. I am learning from you, and I think we've done a lot of work together that's worked well because we can switch quickly between these different papers and projects.
Yeah. Actually, I learned from you as well, because you have 4 kids and you're a super productive professor. Even though you got tenure, you have still so many publications each year. So yeah.
Well, I don't want to get bored.
So I kind of learned from you how to navigate this life, and I was empowered by you. Is it gonna be okay to have kids during my PhD? Yeah, it might be, because Robby has had.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great. It's been a joy. Okay, so there's the questions about productivity and multitasking. What else? Anything about navigating the career, Jiahui, as you think about your future that you'd like to ask Chaeyun?
I don't know. Maybe not, because this year has been. I heard that this year has been very unstable, the job market. So I'm not sure. Like if we're continuing facing this instability. What can I do? Like in the following maybe 3 or 4 years. Of course, publication is the most important thing, and. I don't know.
Wait, what year will you graduate? If it's 4 years, 28?
28.
Okay.
But maybe I will be like Chaeyun to have a 5th year. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It depends on
We can be
a lot of
optimistic.
things.
Sure. Well, it depends on how the political environment works out, which influences the funding environment of at the macro level, which influences the funding environment at MSU. Right now we're in a transition adjustment stage, and hopefully we won't have the same constraints 3 years from now when you're on the market. But and Chaeyun, you're going to this postdoc. So that's not a potentially permanent job. Oh baby, I know the anxiety of a postdoc is tough. But it's renewable, right?
Yeah, it's renewable up to 3 years.
3 years. Okay, so that's good. So you'll also be on the market in 2028.
Yeah.
You guys could do a joint hire maybe somewhere.
So
That would be nice.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So like if the postdoc is just for 1 year, and you will also be on the job market starting from this autumn?
Yes. I
So
will
what's
be
your
on the
plan
job
in this 1 year?
What's my plan? I'll do my research as a postdoc, and I'll be on the job market as well, as always.
Okay.
This
so
is
you
pretty
have more
common.
ongoing projects?
Yeah, so you do additional projects as part of your postdoc. You try to close out your older projects. You don't want to work too much with your advisor, especially as you go up for tenure. You need to show that you're leading projects. So unfortunately, Chaeyun and I can't collaborate very much in 26, probably. We should close things out. Certainly by 27, if you have an assistant professor job, it should be projects that you're leading without my name on it. And then the norm is in a postdoc, at least in our field, to be on the market and looking for other jobs. Though you're gonna love it at Northwestern. I'm guessing that you should. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking you should take a soft look at the job market this year,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be rough anyway.
Yeah, right. I
And-
expect that.
Yeah, and then push harder in fall 2026
Mm-hmm.
for a job in 2027. A 2-year postdoc is nice.
Yeah. But hopefully they renew my postdoc position.
Oh, I see. So it's renewable from them. They
Yeah,
have
it's
to.
a renewable, but
There's no question. You're going to be a rock star. They're going to value you so much. They won't want you to leave after 3 years, but you'll have to because you won't have a tenured position there.
yeah.
Second PhD.
Yeah. Well, postdocs also do a lot more mentoring than PhD students. So are there PhD students in the lab?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the ratio? I know there's a lot of postdocs in that lab, right?
There are almost about 8 postdocs.
8 postdocs.
Yes.
Wow.
And
They've got a lot of money.
yes, they do.
And the PhD
And
student?
PhD
number?
student. I don't know exact number, but probably about 4 or 5 PhD students.
Oh, wow. So more postdocs than PhD students.
It seems so. When I was visiting them,
Wow.
it seems so.
Do you think that's common in the schools of management, business schools?
I have no idea, but because that research center is a center for science of science and innovation, which is
Yeah.
a huge research center in the management school.
I see.
So I have no
So
idea.
it's a center.
how
It's well funded. They're very productive. They're
Mhm.
pumping out papers, so they can afford to hire more postdocs who tend
Yeah.
to be more productive, right? Because they don't need to take classes. They don't need to learn methods, right? They're just there to
Yeah.
do research and
Right.
answer the questions and write grant proposals and get papers in science and nature, and yeah. So we are. Yeah. So I'm very excited for you, Chaeyun. It's such a great next phase.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah. Jiahui, so as you go into your program's second year now, are there
First year. I
pretty soon
yeah,
it'll
time
be
flies so fast.
time flies so fast.
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah. Do you have any strategies that you plan to take as you go into this, or if you move forward, yeah. Cool.
Like strategies for the future.
Strategies for the second year. So you have more classes, right? Like you're obviously not on the job market. We're working on our projects together. How about for like task switching between projects?
So after I finished my first year, I kind of do some reflection, and I realized like of course in the lab we have several ongoing projects, and sometimes I find it a little bit hard for me to navigate through the different projects because it's a little bit hard for my brain to like one time focus on one project and then switch to another. It takes me some time to refresh my brain and remember all the details of the next project. So in the second year, I think what Chaeyun and Robby just shared is very important, and so maybe I should also test out their strategy to practice my skill to navigate through different projects, because as a scholar or researcher, you must have a lot of ongoing projects to be productive, and focusing like while you are on one project, you need to concentrate on it like for 100% to be efficient, but then you also need to acquire the skill to move on to the next project and then focus on that project for 100% like concentration.
Yeah.
So that is the skill that I want to acquire in my second year. And
Good.
then another goal is that so Robby just mentioned it was very meaningful for me to attend this year's ICA, and during this experience I realized, so I do human-machine communication research, and I realized that in this field it seems that a lot of scholars like they are trying to explore some theoretical contribution to the field, but maybe we don't see a very clear method to do that. So in my second year, I'm also thinking to explore more in this field, like more theoretically. I think theory is the most important part of doing research.
Yeah. Very good, very good. Interesting. And so there's a lot there. A couple little things. You know my methods for note taking and keeping Google Docs with a long note list of all the stuff that's happened recently. And so that's been the most, like, sometimes I don't take as good notes as I would like in our MAM study recently. We just switched back to that and I was like, where are we? What are we doing?
Yeah.
But if the documentation is there, it helps with task switching. So coming up with whatever system that can help you get into, like, remind you where you need to be to put 100% of your attention, that's really useful. Going to conferences and generally collaborating is very good for productivity and getting many papers, as Chaeyun mentioned earlier. And like, if you work on 2 single author papers, or you work on 10 5-authored papers, it's essentially the same amount of work, right? It's like if everything is equal. Now, if you're a 5th author on some of those papers and you're not like, a senior scholar, then it's probably less than a full paper's worth of work. If you're a 1st author, it's probably just as much as a single author's paper's worth of work. So then the best strategy, I think, is to kind of spread yourself between being the lead author and the 5th author and the 2nd and 3rd, right? Like, spread it out. And you'll end up with 10 publications. And on average, it'll potentially be about the same amount of work as 2 strong first author or single authored papers, or 3, right? Which is why it stinks for our qualitative colleagues who like often only work on single authored papers and their metrics are lower compared to more collaborative teams. Chaeyun, do you get that sense?
Yeah.
Like, does that math like work out in your head? I mean, maybe it's not like 5 authored papers, 10 papers equals the work of 2. It's maybe more than that, but
Yeah, it may be more than that.
yeah, I guess it depends where you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think, well, that's a very good point, but I think it might be like you are in your maybe 3rd year and 4th year until you are becoming to have more collaboration opportunities, because people will know you. Like you already have publications, and like some 1st year or 2nd year
Publications don't grow your network.
They will reach out to you.
Yeah, I've almost never collaborated. I have a couple times, but collaborated with people who just know me through my work. I often collaborate with people who I know through the networks, and they know my work because I'm talking to them about it.
Reach out to you and say, let's collaborate.
Or we just come. They don't reach out really. It's more like we're having a beer and we're like, hey, we should do this idea.
Having beers during conference is very important.
It is for me because I drink alcohol, but like some people don't, and that's fine too. But just like having that mental state of freedom to like talk openly about what you're. And not in a non-competitive way. And I know there are some cultural differences here compared to what you're used to in your other universities. And certainly at MSU, I think the idea of just chatting about your research and letting people know what you're doing leads to more people joining you and increasing your productivity. And people might say, okay, well, it's not fair that like you're doing the same amount, maybe you're doing 3 papers worth of work for 10 papers compared to 2 sole authored papers, right? But at the end of the day, it's not about how much work you put in or the number of papers. It's about your impact, right? So if you put out 10 papers with 5 of your colleagues and one of them is very impactful, like you're much more likely to have one very impactful paper, and that will get the citation count. But that's not even the most important thing, right? Like the impact is really what are you changing in the way people are thinking about things. And so if you use that as your guiding principle, right, how can I increase my absolute impact, not relative to other people, but my absolute impact on the field, then you can choose strategies that are optimal for that and aren't so concerned with kind of balancing out some of these constraints. This is Thilo. I did want to introduce the 4th of the children. Say hi, Thilo. Get your face in the camera. So, duck. Squat. Turn right.
This way, this way.
This is Thilo.
Where's the camera?
Thilo,
Here.
why am I entering your code here?
So that I can play video games.
So
Oh.
do you agree with Robby and Chaeyun? Like, do you socialize a lot during conference to maybe have more collaboration, or how did you build up your collaboration network?
Yeah, that's basically the same way as Robby does, but I don't drink alcohol. That's the difference.
And that's
Yeah.
fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I drink, but I drink juice, and so that doesn't matter.
But you have lots of fun at conferences.
Yeah.
Yeah, you meet people.
Yeah,
we
can
try.
just meet and socialize
Mhm.
and hang out with them at conferences. So yeah, and you're very good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
So people who are listening, my name is Jiahui, and I do.
She's open to friendships.
Social AI emotional interaction research, and if you are also interested in this topic, please maybe reach out to me or
Yeah.
email me or just share any ideas with me.
That's great. Yeah, and if you've made it this far in the podcast, you're definitely, or the stream, you're definitely interested in the topic and the lab. And so, yeah, that's great, Jiahui. Put yourself out there. At this phase, like it never hurts to like build the network. You're on LinkedIn. Oh, do you need some? Oh, more napkins coming right up.
Thank you. Yeah,
Please don't
that's
stay back. Yeah.
thank you so much.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Thanks.
And so I think there's always changes that happen as you go through your career. Like these days, I'm on LinkedIn, and initially I think I had the wrong strategy. I would try to like be very careful about who I accepted. Like, do I know them? Like, do we have any overlap, or have we connected at a conference at all? These days, anyone who connects with me on LinkedIn, I accept pretty much. And then I'll ignore them or I'll unfriend them if they're like, hey, I want to sell you our life insurance or whatever it is. But otherwise, just growing the network is always good. Yeah.
Okay.
For productivity. Chaeyun, any other words of wisdom that you've developed over these years?
Word of wisdom. Yeah, I realized throughout this journey that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So we have to be sustainable. That's an important thing we need to remember, and we need to take care of ourselves as a researcher, as a PhD student, because it's not an easy journey, because we have to always think through about topics and research, and there are lots of self-doubts. Am I doing the right things? Am I doing my research is impactful or things like that? So I am the person who keeps questioning about myself continuously. So for me, it was very important to self-affirmate. So yeah, I am doing in a sustainable way, and this is a good thing. I'm doing right things, and yeah, those are very important to remember that. I'm not left behind. So don't compare myself to others. Yeah, those are very important.
Yeah. You're quite a marathon runner too. You love marathons.
Yeah, yeah, I love marathon. I'm not good at sprint. Yeah.
And so how about the dissertation phase? It's a marathon. Your dissertation is a kind of a appended set of studies, some of which a couple were published recently, and then a few others that have been in process with an overarching framework or tying them all together. Any tips on balancing your approach to the dissertation with your approach to the job market?
Oh yeah. The tips are very similar to what I've already mentioned, So I try to make those my dissertation and my other research projects
Complementary.
they are complementary to each other, so that I can be very efficient, and my publications become my dissertation chapters. That's the most important way for me to make things
It's a
efficient.
very good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my dissertation has 7 chapters, and 2 out of 7, 2 chapters are already published one, and 1 chapter is under review, so that I could reduce my time writing my dissertation, because
Writing your dissertation, I mean, not just you spend a lot of time writing your dissertation, but reduce your time writing your dissertation that's not going directly to publication.
Oh, right, yeah, that's the exact, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your dissertation is 293 pages. Oh my God, really? Yeah, I do need to review it because we have the defense next week.
I feel so bad to my committee.
Oh, well, you gave us permission to use AI to help us parse it, so that's very kind of you.
It was nice. Oh, that's nice.
I guess it's not 293 pages of text because there are, oh my gosh, it's like 70 pages of references. That's amazing. I think my dissertation was like 150.
Oh, yeah. Your dissertation was 150.
Oh, yeah. You've looked at it. You're the only one.
Looked at it.
But I also appended different papers together and also took the strategy. Jiahui, this is actually good to talk to you about right now. Took the strategy, which I recommended to Chaeyun, to think about a theoretical topic, which you just said you want to focus on. Great as a second-year project. Use that to develop a scale related to your theoretical topic. And then, you learn the skill of scale development, which is really valuable, psychometric stuff. And then take those skills and apply them to your theoretical questions in a way that both validates your scale and extends your understanding of the phenomenon. So for Chaeyun, we had this idea of virtual meetings, right? Chaeyun carved out her niche on engagement, came up with the virtual meeting engagement scale, and then looked at that scale as an antecedent of other important variables. So the theorization is happening on the independent variable side, which is the engagement side. Though I guess some of them look at engagement as an outcome, but or a mediator, right?
Mm. Yeah, it can be a mediator, an outcome, and independent variable as well. But my dissertation was focused on engagement as an outcome variable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the beginning is about engagement as a theoretical question.
Oh yes, right.
Like,
yeah.
Like what causes it and why is it important?
Oh, what causes it? So it was why it was important. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'm really pleased with your progress, of course, in the program. I'm so thrilled and proud to have advised you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for reflecting so well on me. But really, it's been all your hard work and your kind of tenacious drive to succeed in the field, alongside of in your family. And you were nervous though going into this job market. It was a tough one, and you found yourself a great position. I advised you often to focus more on the dissertation than the job market. You applied to many jobs.
How many is many?
I don't know. Do you want to share?
I applied 50. Around more than 50. I don't remember exact number.
That's a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
There are 50 universities in the U.S.
Oh yeah, there definitely are.
Yeah, other departments. So
Hundreds.
I know some other friends in other departments. They apply for more than 100.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did they get jobs?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So, maybe my advice was wrong. Like, maybe it's become more of a numbers game. I was trying to guide you toward, like, more targeted applications that fit. Do you think you would have applied for this postdoc
Mhm.
if you'd restricted your search to targeted applications that fit. This fit pretty well. It was.
This postdoc,
Mhm.
yes, it's a perfect fit.
So then, would you agree with me that maybe you should have applied to fewer that were less of a fit? Or did you learn through that process of applying for the lower fit jobs so that you could increase your likelihood of getting this one? Any answer is fine.
That depends, because that depends on people. That depends on what you do, because it all depends on what I've been doing. So if your research topic is very broad and it can be expanded to other topics and areas, then you should apply as many as possible.
Yeah, I
But-
agree.
But your research topic is somewhat narrow and it is more specific, then many application might not work. So if that's the case, Robby's advice would work better. If that
But I
makes
would
sense.
say, like, you never want to be just a generalist researcher, right? You need to be, your dissertation establishes you as an expert at one thing. And of course that's part of a general field, but at the assistant professor level, they don't have as much to go on, given that you're new to the field. So the fact that you worked in VR, metaverse, virtual meetings really helped with this job because it was written for that type of project, right, Chaeyun?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But
So
this postdoc job was the perfect one
It's like designed
among,
for you.
among all the applications
Mhm.
I did this previous cycle.
Yeah, and you can't strategize this stuff too much. Like, you can't predict what are academic departments going to want to hire for in 4 years, right? And then I'm going to choose that topic. That's not a good strategy because then you're extrinsically motivating yourself to pursue a topic, right? So you should just go for whatever you find really interesting and you can do well, and be
And
optimistic.
test my luck.
Test your luck. And of course, I mean, you're interested in topics that are highly relevant to our
We'll
foreseeable
see
future.
in 4 years.
Yeah,
But it's very difficult to predict.
it
2
is.
years, in
I know.
2 years
It
and
depends on
3 years. So it's very
Yeah.
it's very difficult.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of the passage of time, maybe we should wrap things up here. So, lightning round. Let's copy Scott Galloway here and ask for advice for your younger self, as you want to define that. Prior to this program or this phase, what would you recommend to yourself, Chaeyun?
To my younger self? Oh, it's a very interesting question. I am thinking about it. What would be?
Jiahui, did you think of one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
my advice will be just thinking less and do more, because
Oh.
thinking is like sometimes it will waste your energy by just thinking, like whatever you are thinking about, maybe some words some wrong word that you shouldn't say, like in like maybe when you get home and you think, oh, I shouldn't say that words, or I shouldn't do that, or am I making mistakes? Well, I mean, it has already happened, so just stop thinking and do more.
I might reinterpret, because I think thinking in general is good, but anxious thinking is what you seem to be describing as anxious thinking
Yeah.
or regretful thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're someone who thinks a lot, so for people who don't think enough, we might want to say think more than less. But if you're pursuing a PhD path, you probably you like to think.
Yeah.
And then you need to do, right? You need to write papers. You need to collect data. You need to analyze the data. You need to get it out. Don't just get paralyzed by your anxiety.
Exactly. So no matter how good the idea is in your brain, no matter how great you think it is, you need to practice it develop it and then make it out into a publication. And if you don't do that, no one cares about what's going on in your brain.
Yeah. Very good. That's great advice for your younger self. I hope your younger self will listen. Chaeyun?
Yeah, my advice to my younger self is, it's very difficult to think one. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree with Jiahui because I tend to think really anxiously, so I have had a lot of anxiety before I started my PhD, but the anxiety is gone now, so it's almost gone, but I still have when I was in job market. It's gone because I was able to just do it and in a sustainable way, and I kept trying to say myself, you're doing great job. So my advice is to nice to yourself. So and nice to yourself and approve and acknowledge yourself, your efforts and your anything. You might make mistakes, but you can learn from that. So you don't need to be anxious about making mistakes. Am I doing this? Is it correct one? So you could be something mistakenly, but that's okay because you will learn from that and you will improve. So yeah, cherish each moment of your experience. That's my advice to my younger self.
Oh, that's great advice. I think you're both kind of honing in on advice that I give myself before I go to a hockey game about being confident, right? Like keep your head up. You'll make mistakes, learn from them. That's great advice. That happens in academia too. And also always look for the opportunities. Like if you have a good attitude, you'll see those opportunities to do the things that are productive, to make that connection with that person who you can write a paper with or collect data with or somehow otherwise benefit from in this career. So that's great advice. I would also tell my younger self to invest in Bitcoin in 2015 or 16 when I first heard about it. But no, not a time machine question. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you've watched us this far, thank you so much, Chaeyun, Jiahui, and Luca for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. This concludes Spartie stream of the day, but we'll probably do some more of these in the nearest future. Maybe on Zoom, maybe in VR, maybe in the metaverse. Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.